Up until about the middle of the last century, scientists believed that the adult brain wasn't plastic. It didn't change very much. Of course, it changed a bit, but the big changes happened in infancy, from the womb to about 3 years old, and in adolescence, up until about the end of the teen years. I'm very glad to be able to tell you today that that is simply not true.
Welcome back to the channel. This week we have a fantastic clip that I've found about what's actually going on in your brain as you are learning and overcoming challenges and obstacles. As always, we are going to show you a clip that I found online, and then I'm going to use an expanded understanding of Ohm's law to show how it relates to this fundamental law of physics. This week's clip is Kitty Chisholm, and we are going to play it right now because I think it's just fantastic and mind-blowing, because the implications of it beyond what she is observing are astounding.
Attention is simply the most important factor I've come across. And of course, it's not attention by itself, it's attention together with practice and with passion. And the practice is not mechanistic practice. It's intense, deep, dedicated, hard-working, try, fail, try again, improve, do it again, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, do it again, that kind of practice. And in order to do that, you need the kind of motivation that comes out of passion. Attention is the mechanism through which the brain focuses resources on something. And that means if you can direct your attention, you are directing where your brain puts its greatest resources. How good is that? And why should that matter? It matters because the brain is highly resource intensive, and as a result, it's a very competitive environment. Different parts of the brain compete for processing power in order to do things. And the resources aren't infinite. So that processing power, to be able to direct it, is absolutely phenomenal. What happens, in addition to territorial expansion, is that communication between neurons increases in efficiency. There's simply more neurotransmitters, the more certain neurons communicate between themselves and the brain and the body in patterns on a regular basis. So the more you practice, the easier that communication becomes, the more regular it becomes, the more reliable it becomes. And not just more neurotransmitters, increased sensitivity in the reception. And that's not all. More synapses are created because more dendrites grow along an axon when neurons communicate regularly, when they fire regularly together in response to the same signal. That's called learning. And even that's not all. Regular firing of a neuron causes the axon to be wrapped round more thickly by the myelin sheath, which acts as the black rubber coating on the old copper wire. It protects the signal from leakage, and it sends it down the axon more quickly. So you have increased territorial growth, increased synaptic efficiency, speed, and regularity, and that underlies just the most fantastic things. Creativity, as we were hearing, learning, development, change, skill acquisition, achieving a goal, having that little tick gives you a boost of feel-good chemicals like a win does. And that helps increase your motivation as well. And another thing that helps you develop your attention and your motivation is being in flow. And that means actively looking for stretch activities, things that are beyond your current capabilities, but not outside your potential, pushing yourself and trying and failing.
What a fantastic clip. The parallels to Ohm's law are literal. So basically, the more energy you need to draw, the thicker the gauge of wire you need to use to deliver that energy. And what she's showing that they've found is that this is what is going on literally in your brain. So if current is constant, resistance increases, potential difference increases, but potential difference also means pressure. So what happens is when you start a new job, let's say, you have all these new tasks that you need to master. That's the resistance you must overcome. And by constantly focusing your energy on overcoming those resistances, what she has demonstrated here is that the pressure that you're feeling as you're learning those tasks is literally the neural network being formed in your brain. We view this pressure that we're experiencing as a psychological phenomenon. But in reality, it is literally your neural network growing until it reaches equal capacity as the resistance that you're trying to overcome. This is astounding. This is absolutely astounding. What she is showing is that you have different gauges of neuron based on repetition, practice, and the driving of your energy through it. The more energy through your attention and passion you push in a certain direction, the more resources your brain is obligated to flow down those neurons, just like a wire. And the gauge of the neuron or the gauge of the wire grows in proportion to the repetition of use and the difficulty of the task that is being overcome. This is astounding to me. This is a major, major breakthrough to me. It completely changes the way that I look at pressure in your mind, because that pressure in your mind is literally your brain growing in sophistication so that it has the ability to overcome the task. If you look at the thing you want to do as the plan that you want to implement is basically the software. What she has demonstrated here is that you literally are growing the hardware that the energy needs to flow through so that you can get your meat machine to continually do the task. And you do it through practice. Like she says, once you've even established the potential, you need to do stretch exercises. You need to keep pushing yourself. And the more you're pushing yourself, the more energy you're forcing through this neural hardware that you have grown by virtue of staying focused on a task. It's the reason the more often you do something, the easier it becomes. And then once you feel that relief in pressure because you've now mastered the task and it becomes second nature, what you've actually done is you've completed the building of the mental hardware that the energy needs to run through to do the task. And then you do this again and again and again based on all of the different tasks that you force yourself to engage with. If you can teach yourself to view the pressure of overcoming the obstacle not as a psychological phenomenon, but as a mental, physiological growth, it changes everything if you can accept this. Because it's a lot easier for your mind to accept that I just need time to grow the hardware required to run the computer to do this task, just like an actual computer. If you don't do that and you just go, oh, I just can't handle the pressure, or I'm weak, you convince yourself that it's a mental issue. It's not a mental issue at all. The pressure you are feeling when you are overwhelmed by a new circumstance is literal hardware being nurtured and created and connected in your computer brain. And your brain is doing this automatically. The implications of this are astounding, and we're going to explain more of that in the next video, because this video really is the game changer on what's going on in your mind. Most mental pressure that you are feeling in the average circumstance has nothing to do with psychology at all. It is actually a physiological response that we are now explaining through this expanded understanding of Ohm's law. If you'd like more information on this, be sure to visit our website, Seniorthinktank.ca. There's all kinds of videos and PDF resources for you to download so that you can start learning this expanded understanding of Ohm's law. Thank you for your time. We'll see you next week. Be sure to like and subscribe.